So sometimes you may want to find the surface area of a composite shape. That would be where you put two solids together. In this case, we have a rectangular prism and a square pyramid. I'm going to start out by thinking about the rectangular prism. I see that I have a base down here, and that's definitely going to be part of my surface area. And then I also have my lateral faces, the rectangles all around here. But I'm not going to include the other base because that would be inside, that'd be in the interior of this solid. So for my prism then, I'm going to have the lateral surface area, which is pH, but instead of adding 2b, I'm just going to add 1b because I only want to include this base right here in my calculation. I don't want to include the other one since that's in the interior of the shape. All right, so let's talk about our perimeter and the area of our base. Well, the side length of my base is 4, and it's a square. I can tell because 2 of the sides are 4, and it's rectangular, which means the opposite sides are going to be congruent. So my perimeter is going to be 4 times 4. That's 16. The area of the base is also going to be 4 times 4 since both the side lengths are 4. So that's also 16. And my height is 10. Okay, so then pH plus B is going to be 16 times a height of 10 plus the area of my base is also 16. So that's 160 plus 16, or 176. That's the prism. Let's talk about the pyramid now. So I don't want the base of my pyramid. As mentioned before, that's going to be in the interior of this solid. It's going to be inside. So for my pyramid, I just want the lateral surface area, which is 1/2 times the perimeter times the slant height. We're told that our slant height is 6, and we already found the perimeter. Remember, it's 16. So I'm going to have 1/2 times 16 times 6. And that is 48. So now let's add these two together. I have 176 plus 48. And that gives me 224 square feet for the surface area of this shape. So in this problem, we're going to use subtraction. What we essentially have is a box with a little hole in it on the top. I'm thinking about the blue part as a box and the gray part as a hole that's kind of dipped down inside to the box. We want to find the surface area of this. I'm going to start with the blue box. So I'm going to draw some invisible lines here, and I know that I'm going to be including the bottom of this box in its entirety. I'm going to have the base, and then I'm going to have the lateral faces. And then I'm also going to actually have the top base as well. So I have the bottom base and I have the top base. But from the top base, I'm going to have to subtract the whole, right? So that's what I'm looking at here. The bottom, and then the lateral faces, and then the top minus the whole. Okay, that's kind of messy. But you get the idea. That's the plan. Okay, so that means I'm going to have basically my total surface area, so pH plus 2b, but then I'm going to have to subtract the top of the hole, just the two-dimensional parallelogram or rectangle that's up there that represents the hole. So let's talk about the hole. It is 3 by 2, so I'm going to be subtracting 3 times 2. The perimeter of the big blue box would be 12 plus 8 times 2. So that's 20 times 2, that's 40. The area of the base of the big blue box would be 8 times 12, and that is 96. And the height of the big blue box is 6. So I'm going to have my perimeter of 40 times my height of 6 plus 2 times 96, that's the area of my base, and then I'm going to subtract 6. So 240 plus 192 minus 6. That comes out to 426 meters squared. So now let's talk about the hole. The hole is actually adding to the surface area of this box because like if I was going to paint it, I would have to paint the inside of that hole as well, right? Okay, so I'm going to have a different perimeter and a different area of my base and a different height because I'm not talking about the whole thing now. I'm just talking about the hole. Okay, so my new height is 1.5. My new perimeter is 3 plus 2 times 2, so that's 5 times 2, that's 10. The new area of my base is 3 times 2, which is 6. And remember, we found that earlier when we subtracted that from our blue box. And I think that's all we need. Good. And to do the whole, we're going to do pH plus B. because we want to include the bottom of the hole, but we don't want to include the top. That's the opening where it opens up. Okay, so our perimeter is 10, our height is 1.5, and the area of our base is 6. So that's going to end up as 15 plus 6, or 21. Great, so now we just need to add our box to our hole. We often think of subtracting holes, and that's what we would do if this was volume, but it's not. It's surface area, so we're going to add it. Okay, so we have 426 plus 21, and that comes out to 447, and we're talking about meters squared.